everybody I pass is going to catch up to us, and they're going to be laughing at me because of you, guy. So let's talk about these white cars. We've passed a couple, haven't we? Yeah, this. What is that? I can't tell. His bicycles are covering up any. It might be a Chrysler, it might be a Dodge. It might be neither. Chevrolet, I believe. I think that's an Equinox or something. Pacifica. Chrysler Pacifica. And I already see the people I passed in the rear view. Man, there's not even a house to talk about. I can't make up a story about trees. What about these trees? What if you go in these trees and find something? I bet there's hobbits living in there. Look at that person. That person's like, I'm going to go find me a hobbit. That person's like, I'm going to go find me a hobbit, I'm going to catch it, and I'm going to be rich and famous. But you don't get rich and famous if you're catching a hobbit. The hobbit will get you back. That hobbit will turn tricks. You'll never make it to Discovery Land where people find out that you've done stuff. And who would you even tell that you captured a hobbit? Would you call up the Guinness Book of Records people? Do they still do their thing? Speaking of books that might not exist forever, there used to be a book called Who's Who? Who's Who in the World, or something like that. And the website is still up, and it's kind of sad to go see because the book no longer comes out. They don't publish the book anymore. But it used to be a book that you could buy, and all the incredible people in the world were in that book. So if you needed to contact some incredible people, you got your hands on the Who's Who almanac and found yourself a person that was good at whatever. I was in that book a couple of times. I don't know what for. I don't think you can put yourself in that book. Somebody else has to. But it's sad that that's not a thing anymore. I wonder if you can look up old copies of that book. Get like a 2003 edition, like a 1998 edition, and a 1995 edition. I'd like to take pictures of myself in that book. That'd be cool. But I'd have to describe what the book is and what it meant to be able to show it to anybody. And then by the time they're done listening, they'd probably be on their phone watching a TikTok about something else, and they'd forget my story because it wasn't very interesting. I have to drive this road a lot. We might drive on Highway 60 again, going to Dahlonega, maybe. Look at that guy, come on guy. Keep talking. What if I just stay silent for like 15 minutes and then start talking out of nowhere? What kind of interruption to the video is that? Like, do you want to, I don't know. Is that good? Should I keep just constantly talking and see what comes out? These are long rides. Can you talk for a straight hour without breaking, just with nothing to go off of? Like I keep repeating, I should have prepared a speech to go on for an hour about something. Let's talk talk about the ants. I think they're collecting a particle that we don't see. They may be collecting neutrinos as well. And the reason we can't measure a lot of things is because the ants are taking those things before we can measure them. Like they have to come to Earth and bounce back up or whatever, but they don't bounce back up. They get sucked into the Earth because an ant caught them. And they bring those neutrinos and stuff down to the core of the planet. Yeah, science might say that ants can only go so far into the crust. But what does science know? You know what I think science knows? Not enough. We can still make up stuff that sounds believable. That's how little science knows. I can tell you about the almighty aardvark. The almighty aardvark is a very special aardvark, and they can tunnel up to 11,000 meters into the ground. At 11,000 meters in the ground is where they make their burrow. And inside their burrow, they take random stuff from the human world. See, these amazing aardvark are not natural species. They arose because humanity existed. So they evolved side by side with aardvark until they were evolved enough to not need aardvark trade and regulations to survive on their own anymore. And then they began burrowing. For probably 500 years, they knew they could burrow, but they couldn't get away from, taxes. So when they finally all paid their taxes up to the freaking aardvark tax police, they decided to hide so that the aardvark authorities didn't find them. And after they hid, they began to burrow where they would never be found again. But they'll burrow and burrow and burrow 11,000 meters into the ground where they make their burrows for their homes. And in those homes, they bring stuff from the human world. How do they get this stuff from the human world? Well, I'll tell you how. They go up and out and explore the world. And they look like regular old aardvarks. They look like any other aardvark there is. So when you see one passing you on the street that has a pack of cigarettes in his hands, you're like, okay, that's just a normal aardvark, but it's not. He's taking that pack of cigarettes down to his home. He don't smoke, but, gotta have it on the shelf in case any other aardvark friends show up that do smoke. Look at that guy. He's going fast. He's gonna have fun. So Amilo the aardvark. Amilo is what we will call him. Amilo likes to go in and out of his home and collect stuff from the human world. You ever wonder where that left sock went? Amilo's got it. He already traded it off for some Amilo asparagus though. Yeah, these guys eat asparagus, apples, apricots, artichokes. All kinds of stuff. Just name it. They'll eat it probably. And probably not. I think they prefer bugs. That's where you find 11,000 meters into the ground. You just find microbial life. So you just lick the wall and hope you get some. That's what they do. They spend most of their day licking the wall, hoping that a microbial life form had surfaced through the rock and porous to, feed them. Kind of like a whale eating plankton. They just kind of swim through the water eating plankton. These guys just kind of starve to death all day licking rock, hoping they can survive. They don't know if they're going to survive or not, but, they just keep on trudging. And when they get bored of licking rock, they go up to the human world and they collect stuff. Something of mine became missing recently, and I think it was one of them, because there's a bunch of holes in the yard, and I don't think it's, I don't know, I'm scared snakes might be in those holes. What do you do about that? But yeah, there's holes in the yard. You can't see them. They look like trapdoor spider holes, to be honest.